Hi, I'm Carol Ricken. I am working for the Ulster County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm in charge of organizing our travel. Many of you may know me. We have been doing travel trips, special trips, fun trips for over 10 years, and I'd like to welcome you. We are going to talk about a fabulous trip today, and it is Destinations Ireland will be taking us to Ireland in March of 2022. And I'm here to welcome you to listen to a presentation by Declan O'Brien, who is here from Destinations Ireland. And I have experienced a trip with Declan. It's fabulous. It's one of my favorite adventures of a lifetime. So take it away, Declan. Tell us a little bit about what you'd like to do.
Thanks, Carl. I appreciate the introduction. And Carl, of course, is no stranger to Ireland. One of our favourite destinations. Been there half a dozen times by now, right?
5, I think.
Yeah,
This will be my 6th coming up.
Excellent. That's great. Well, as Carl says, we have a superb trip set up for Ireland for you, arriving into Dublin and heading over to Galway on the first day, taking in Connemara, which is a big highlight. Galway is known as the city of the tribes over on the west coast, and a beautiful university town, very colourful, famous for music, good food, and of course it's right on the sea. And then we continue after our first couple of nights there, and we take in the Cliffs of Moher, which is on the Clare coastline, right opposite the Aran Islands in the Atlantic Ocean, and absolutely beautiful part of Ireland.
I just loved that, Declan. That was so gorgeous. That is one of my favorite sites in the world.
It'll certainly wake you up. It's about 700 feet above the Atlantic, a sheer cliff, and usually pretty windy, so you have to be careful to keep your feet on the ground, that's for sure. And then from there we head down to Kerry and down to Killarney, and beautiful, colourful town again, market town, and very famous. Highest mountains in Ireland are in that area around Killarney, and the lakes of Killarney. So it's considered probably the most picturesque part of the country, known as Heaven's Reflex actually. They like to call it the Kingdom of Kerry. And we do the Ring of Kerry from there, takes us down the Atlantic coast, down to Waterville and Carsavine, and it's very, very spectacular, absolutely stunning scenery. And then back up to Killarney. The nights out in Killarney should be a lot of fun. A lot of nice pubs, great food, music, and entertainment. So there's always a good buzz there, and it's a nice touristy town. You meet people from other parts of the world when you're out at night dining and having a pint or two. And then from there we head over to Kinsale, stopping off at Blarney Castle, do a bit of shopping, see the Blarney Castle, and if you want, you can kiss the famous Blarney Stone, which is known as the Stone of Eloquence. The Irish are never stuck for a few colourful words in conversation, and they say the Blarney Stone is responsible, so there you go with that. But Kinsale itself, a lovely sailing and fishing town, and we're going to stay there for a night and enjoy dining around there. It's famous as the food capital or gourmet capital of Ireland, and a lot of Spanish influence, a lot of history. It has an old fort which is almost 1,000 years old there, and so it's a great place to weigh anchor for a night and enjoy it. And then from there we head up via the Rock of Cashel, which is an iconic natural setting with a basalt rock. It used to be the crowning stone for ancient Irish kings and bishops, and there are several chapels and ruins of others that are on the hill, and we'll stop in there at the Rock of Cashel. It's a really stunning location, and you can see for miles into, I think it's 9 different counties in Ireland from the promontory there. And then we head up to Dublin, and we do an overview tour of Dublin, see all the main sites, and we're going to stay there for 2 nights, and we'll have plenty of time to get out and explore all the great things to see in Dublin, do a bit of shopping, We're going to visit the Guinness Storehouse and learn how to pull a pint and enjoy a pint of Guinness at its source. And we're going to have, on our second night there, we're going to have Irish music and entertainment and dinner. So we're going to have a big cabaret night on the final night in Dublin. So
and one of the things I remember about Dublin is when you go up to where you get your free Guinness, it's a rotating bar, and you can see all of Dublin, like the full range, because you're moving around. And of course, Guinness is good, and I know Declan's not going to want to hear me to say this, but I ordered a Bailey's and it was free because Guinness bought Bailey's. So that's a little pointer. If you're not a Guinness drinker, you can have
a Bailey's.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great fun and very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
And there's a lovely shopping area there as well, where you can get mementos, clothing and so on, all things Guinness.
All things Guinness, right?
About 7 floors of interesting things to do, and they have traditional bars in there as well that would date back to what they looked like several hundred years ago. Yeah. So yeah.
It's a real history of the making of Guinness.
Yeah, an interesting story about Guinness that you may or may not know is that their logo is the Irish harp. And Guinness was founded back in the 18th century, the 1760s, I think it was. Wow. And Arthur Guinness took the harp as his logo. And when the Irish government came to be in 1922, they wanted to use the harp as their national logo as well, but they had to ask Guinness for permission, and Guinness gave them the permission to use it, provided they reversed the harp. So on Irish legal tender, you'll see the harp when it's reversed, whereas the Guinness has it facing forward. Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
And we're doing an extension as well.
Exactly,
yes.
We're doing an extension then to Northern Ireland. We're going up to Belfast for a couple of nights. We're going to visit a cidery and do tastings, and we're going to be on the Giant's Causeway, which is very famous. It's up at the very top of the Irish coast in Northern Ireland. And we will visit the Titanic Centre in Belfast, which is really fantastic. It opened a few years ago and takes you through the story of the Titanic from the people who built it when it was built back in the early 1910s and set sail in 1912, and of course didn't make it all the way. But a fantastic human history to be learned there and on the site where it was built in the Harland and Wolff shipyards. And of course there'll be free time in Belfast to explore the Cathedral Quarter and some wonderful restaurants and pubs, including the Victoria Bar, which is the oldest up there, a couple of 100 years old. So Northern Ireland is definitely a wonderful place to visit, very welcoming and fabulous countryside sightseeing and plenty to do in Belfast.
Wow, it's just a wonderful trip, and I've seen some of the sites, but I still have a lot to explore. You can go many times to Ireland and there's always something new and beautiful. And as Declan said, the food is terrific.
Yes,
and the pubs and the music is such fun. So that's wrapping up the highlights. We could not go into everything. However, in order to see a more detailed itinerary, you will be able to see this itinerary with a registration page, which we will be putting on this video with a link to both of these documents. A lot more information also on this is information on how to contact us to fill in the registration form. If you have questions, please feel free to call me. My information is on the form, but as well, I'm at 845-417-7143. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Declan.